Hello everyone, how are you doing? So in this video, we'll add styles to our application. So we'll basically make it look a little bit more acceptable than it does currently. And we will finish off the username support. So we'll activate the models and make some adjustments to the code so that it fully supports the username, which is inserted by the user. And this will be probably the last video of our series, unless we take a very long time with the CSS, but let's see. So first thing, let's add a link tag. Here, oops, I meant a link, not a lin, and a link does not have a closing tag. Let's say rel style sheet, and then href styles.css. And let's actually create the styles.css. And here what we'll do is we'll start with not with our main, but with our body. And body will have a margin of 0. Sometimes bodies have margin. And let's just set the background color to white. Not that it changes anything, but then let's move to our main. Let's say that we want to have a display of flex, and the flex direction will be column. We'll have a justify content center, and we'll have align items center. Okay, let's refresh it here, and it's nicely in the center. Okay, great. Therefore, then we have our outer container. So let's go back to our HTML query very quickly, and our outer container. So basically, it's everything that is up to the area where the notifications are shown. And we want this outer container to also have a display of flex, to have a justify content to the center, and to have the items alignment center also. Okay, so basically now what will be happening is we'll have like the container with the messages next to the container with the usernames. And this is what we want to achieve. Okay, and then we have a box, right? A box is basically like a CSS class that just adds some properties to the HTML tag that we want to create here, right? So basically, this will reuse multiple times, and here we'll define a border. Border will be very simple. I already have the color here prepared on the side so that it looks somewhat acceptable. Let's also add a little of padding with rem units, and let's set the height to 50 width, view height, sorry. Basically what it will do is now if I refresh here, we can see it will just draw these two nice boxes here. And let's also do a border radius of, let's say, and let's, because I think we'll reuse this border radius, therefore let's make a root here, and let's define a border radius, then let's say 10 pixels for now. Let's copy this thing, and let's here say var and this border radius. This should give us a little bit of rounded edges. Okay, border radius. Now we don't want any background, but what we want is we want a box shadow. And box shadow, let's also define maybe a variable for that. Maybe we'll reuse that in the future. So let's say box shadow. Now 0.5 em, and the color, let's say RGB 0.0.3. So basically opacity 3. And let's end that with a semicolon. Let's say var box shadow. Okay, and we have a little bit of a shadow. That's basically not offsetted to any direction. So now let's style the box outer messages. Basically, what is it? It is the outer box that holds our messages currently. Let's do a display of flex. Oops, semicolon. Let's do a flex direction of column. but will justify content to the end. So basically what it will do is you'll basically see it working in a sec. Okay, here let's do a width, and here I just do a constant width of 500 pixel, and currently I think we need to apply this class box outer messages. Exactly, we had a typo here, and now it will become a little bit wider. And this is why we also need to add support then for a little bit more narrow screens. Okay, but what I also want to have is I want to have text aligned to the left hand side. Okay, and I also see that in the box outer messages, no, these notifications are outside. Okay, so now we have the outer box, and now let's style the box chat messages. Let's quickly come in here, and here I think we had this box chat messages. Exactly, this is the place where the messages will actually pop up. So here we want to actually have a display of grid with a row gap, let's say 1 rem, and with a margin on the bottom 1 rem, and with an overflow auto. What overflow auto will do is it will actually, I think you can see that in action already. I'll write something here, copy, and then we can see send empty messages. Basically what it will do is it will create this slider here. And we'll go back to that in a sec, because what would be nice if I type a new message, it appears at the bottom, but we don't see it immediately. So basically this does not really work for us. So this should actually stick to the bottom, and we'll make it stick to the bottom. Okay, let's continue. So here we have our box with the usernames, but I will take a short look here if we, no, this is a class for us. So let's come in here, let's take the box usernames, and in the usernames we want to have a display of grid. And let's say that we want to have a row gap also of 1 rem. That's good. Let's refresh. This should affect it on the right hand side. Okay, then what we want to have is we want to style the title. So we have the box title, I believe. This is how we called it. Let's see, box title. Exactly, here we have a box title. And let's style the box title here. Let's make it a font weight bold so that it's bolded. And let's make the font size, I don't know, larger. And let's make the margin. Let's maybe add here a little bit of a margin, 0.7 or something like this. Right, so that is a little bit bigger. It has a little bit of a margin right here. Okay. And now let's style input chat message directly. So here, by using this hashtag, we are selecting an element using its ID. Let's actually see if we have this ID. Yes, we have. Okay. What we want to have is we just want to have a width of 100% so that it spans from the left hand side to right hand side. However, currently it's not constrained, and so let's make it a little bit more constrained, and let's actually make it so that the send button and the form input here are in one line. We'll do that using styling the form chat message and basically doing a display of flex. And then we can do, for example, justify content, and we can do space between. Okay. Maybe we don't even need the space between here. Okay, that's good. Let's go further then. So what we can do is we can style our input text now in general. So we'll have the input text here and then on the username form. And here let's use our variable with border radius. Let's set it height to a slightly bigger. So let's say 1.3 rem. Font size Let's set it to 1 rem. And then let's add a little bit of padding on every side. This should make it a little bit bigger. Okay, good. So now what we have is to style is the model and then everything that's on the model, but this we'll do in a sec. Let's now style the buttons a little bit, right? So we have a class.button, and on the button we have a border, 1 pixel, solid, and here I have prepared some colors, 103, 229. Okay, let's make it also the same background color. And let's give it a font color of white. With a border radius, oops, what did I do? With a border radius, using our border radius variable. And then also let's make the font weight bold. And maybe let's set the font size to 1 rem. Okay, this should be fine. This should be our button currently here. And I think here we have a small issue. Of course we have, because background color should be set this way. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to set the pseudo classes of hover and also focus. Button focus. So hover is when you hover over it, and focus is if you select it with tab. And here I just want to have a background color, and here I have the colors prepared on the side so that I don't waste so much time here. 171. Okay, and this will be just a little bit darker, right? So also when you select it, you clicking tab now, basically you will see that it's also a little bit darker. And by the way, if you remove the focus, you should basically style the focus if you do custom styling. Okay, and then let's style maybe the button that sends the message. Let's check the class because I currently don't remember it. Button send message. Okay, this is our class. I think I deleted something by accident. Okay, let's give it a first off. Let's give it a maxed width of 4 rem, and let's give it maybe a width of 30%. Right, so this will just make it a little bit bigger. And then the min width will be that it fits the content, right? So it will not get smaller than the content inside. And then let's give it a margin on the left hand side, let's say 2 pixels, or 2%, sorry, not pixels, so that there is just some gap between here. And then we also have some more models to do, and then let's also say this, we have to define dot bold, and actually bold class will just set the font weight to bold, and this is for our spans, right? So if I now send a message, the test user is bolded. Okay, let's go down here actually, or let's go up here, right? Because here we have our areas, right? So here we have the boxes, and then we have the form, and we have here. Let's go down here, and here we will style our area notifications. Let's check if it's notifications actually. No. Area notifications. Let's style this. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's make a display of grid. We may have multiple notifications, so we want to handle that sort of gracefully. Margin top 2 rem. Okay, and then for a particular notification, what we want to have is we want to once again have a box shadow. This is why you see that it's useful for us to use the variable here. We want to have a font weight of bold, and this is basically where I define, let's say 0.rem padding. This is basically where we define the common styles for both notification classes, right? Because now what I will do is I will create notification/info, and it will have a different background color. And once again, I have something here prepared at 210, 255. And then I will have a notification dash error. And this will be like a reddish color. So 255, 167, 167. This is like a reddish color, right? This is like a blue something. Okay, and that would be it. And now we also have a show class. And the show class is added to the notifications where they appear. And we want to have an animation. Let's call this animation fade in, and let's set it to 0.4 seconds. And now to support multiple browsers, let's also do it like this. So here the WebKits, MOZs, animation, fade in, also 0.1 seconds. Basically here we are just adding like a support for different browsers and for also for other browsers by specifying this like we are currently doing. Okay, here and then ms/animation also fade in 0.4 seconds. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to define basically what these animations do. So we already know that they take us 0.4 seconds, but we also need to say that now keyframes and then fade in. And now what does this do? So basically 0% of the animation is opacity 0. And 100%, so basically a finished animation, is an opacity of 1. And it will like the keyframes will transition it between, like smoothly transition it between. Now only we need to here make the dash MOZ. Here we need to do a dash WebKit keyframes. Dash WebKit keyframes. Okay, and here we need to do dash O. And here we need to do dash MS. And here I think I have a small typo because it's WebKit. Okay, that's it. And now what we still need to do is we need to define a hide class, right? So when the time has passed, we will hide it. So we'll set the opacity to 0. And here we can just do a transition, basically opacity 400 milliseconds. Okay. So this should work currently. Let's refresh this. So first off, let's refresh here, and we can see that basically our animations are working, right? So here we can see directly that if we run it and then we wait, we run it once again, we wait for some seconds, it will disappear. Okay, so this part is working, but currently what I don't like, for example, is that this part is so small because it's not really looking good for us. So let's try to change it. I think if you have to go here and here, I would like this first off. Here, the problem that I currently do see is that this I think is not applied. Notification. Let's check if this is exactly what we apply here. Is it the same here? Ah, no. Okay. There was an I missing. Okay, so now it is good. Okay, and now basically, if we just add here in the area notifications with 100%, we should be fine. And let's do just text align. Where were we? Text align center. Now it's good. Okay, now it works. Actually, the one thing I'm missing is, and I don't like currently, is that we don't have any space right here. So any gap between the containers right here. So basically this is not separated from this one. Let's maybe check it on a slightly higher screen. Yeah, exactly. So let's add a margin here. We can do it, for example, on the box with outer messages. Here, for example, let's do a margin margin right to rem. And now it is separated. Okay, let's try to test maybe sending the user messages. Okay, whoops. Okay, seems like everything here is working fine. Therefore, let's now go to the styling of our media queries, basically. So now what we want to do is we want to style our application so that it also works on smaller screens like this. So we go down here and we say add media. And when max width is smaller than 992 pixel, 992 pixel is like a tablet width usually. I think that's how a popular package called Bootstrap for CSS defines it. When this is true, what we want to do is we want to set the main to 100%. We want to set a display. I think we already have a display of flex, right? Because my idea now is currently we want to have the username box underneath here, not next to this one, right? We already have a display of flex, so we don't need it here. And let's see, we already have a flex direction of column, and then we have this. Okay, then we don't need anything on the main here. So basically now we are defining what will change, right? But I think what we need to do is we need to change the outer container, and this is actually what will make it. So we need to set a flex direction of column. And this is what actually makes it go underneath. And now I will just set the width to 90% so that it does not take the whole screen. Okay. Now I think I'm missing one here. Okay. What we also want to have is for the box of outer messages. Let's have a margin bottom of 2 rem so that it's separated a little bit. Here I want to have the width set to 100% of parent, so of the outer container. I also want to have some additional padding. Let's maybe refresh it, see how it looks like. And I want to have the margin right to be 0. And this is what will make it in the middle again. And height, I want to have 75 view heights, so that almost takes the entire screen. Now, for the box of outer usernames, what I want to have is I want to have a width of 100%. I want to have a padding of 1 rem, and I want to have a text align left, so that it is aligned to the left-hand side. You can also align to the middle. That's no difference. And now for the notifications, right? Let's currently see how it looks like. Looks decent. But what I would like to have is I would like to always have it pop on the bottom of the screen. And this is super simple to do. Let's just get the array notifications. Let's set the width once again here to 90%. Let's have a position, not inherit, but fixed. And then we define the position, right 0, bottom 0, margin right, let's say 0.5 rem, and then z index 100, 1000, or I actually think we don't even need the index in our case. Okay, here we've set the margin right, here we've set the margin bottom, that's good. What I would also like to currently do, or maybe because we could also make the font size a little bit smaller, maybe, for example, let's say 14 pixels. And because we are using REM, I would hope that it's going to scale a little bit, but I don't think that we need to do it currently. Okay, this is basically our mobile support. It was super simple. And now the only last thing we have left here is we need to enable actually our username support. So as you remember here, we broke this function down a little bit. So let's currently fix it. Let's uncomment this part. Oops. Let's uncomment this part. Let's remove this part and let's put actually this up here. And let's enable this. And let's refresh our application. And now we get this model, and I already can see that this does not look very good. Therefore, let's work on styling it here. What we can do is let's go down here where we have the notifications. Here we have the buttons. Let's go underneath the buttons. And here we will style our model. I will actually make a comment here that this is the model part, and I will model. Let's style the model. Basically, the padding. Let's do a 2 rem padding. Let's do a max width of 50 ch. And let's do a border of none. Okay, this makes it have padding and no border, and then max width. So if I didn't do this max width, if we had more content here that we currently don't expect, it could span over a little bit too wide. So it will have a box shadow. We'll use our good old box shadow, not spot sizing, but box shadow variable. Box shadow. And we'll use our border radius also with our variable. And now it looks already a little bit better. And now what I really like about the dialog is here you have this pseudo class, which is model backdrop. And in the model backdrop, what you can do is you can just say background white. And everything else disappears until we submit this part. And by the way, you can already see our username gathering, or our username here is working. But still, what's to do here is, what I would like to do here is have the form group. Let's see if we define it like this, because I would like to actually it to be underneath. So the button underneath the text input. If not, let's put it inside. Okay, here we have the model, here we have the form. So let's maybe create here a div with a class. Oh, you know what? Let's actually maybe style the form directly. This will be, I think, a little bit smarter. Here we'll have a form username, and then we will have a display of grid and row gap or of, let's say, 0.8 rem, and the minimum width, not none, but let's say 300 pixels. And this is it. Okay, now I think we are missing a little bit something with the buttons, because this button doesn't really look very good. So button set name, and let's say height 100%. Let's see if this, no, this will not work. So more or less, let's say that this is 2 rem height. Oops. Do we have it? No, we don't have this. I thought we applied this class, but we didn't. Okay. Okay, and this seems to be it. I'll now start our application on multiple screens so that we can see basically it working. Okay, so here I have it. Let's say test 1. Here, let's say test 2. Test 2 has connected. That's good. Let's say hi. And we say that test 1 said hi, and let's see, also say hi here. And we now see test 2 said hi. But okay, what is definitely missing are the colors. And let's see actually why the colors are missing for us. So basically the colors are defined right here with a message color that we add to, oops, what I would like to see is where we actually call this function, and here we use this color that was passed up here. And I think I see the reason. The reason is this %, which is unnecessary here. Okay, let's refresh once again. Let's do a test 1. Let's do a test 2. Let's submit. Let's say hi once again. Let's see. Now we have the colors. Okay. Hi also. Yeah, but I think that this message actually could use a little bit of padding. So let's say chat message. Where we have the chat message. Form chat message. Ah, we don't have a chat message class. Oh, okay. This is why it may be. So let's see if it's named exactly chat message. So let's go here. Let's define a class for the chat message, and let's add a tiny little bit of padding right there. I think this will make it look a little bit better. Test 1. Let's see. So let's say whatever, and this makes it look a little bit better already. But I think if we did now a border radius using our good old border radius, this will look a little even better. Let's say hi. And now, okay, now let's increase the padding. And now I think it looks decent. Okay, and now we can also refresh this application. Let's say test 2 again, and we already see that the messages basically keep coming, that we know when somebody has disconnected, we know who is currently with us in the chat. I'll actually maybe try to pull up a little bit more windows here. So here we have a third one, let's say test 3, and here we have the the white one. Oops, here I have the console not necessary. Let's say hi from test 3. And this all works. Okay, fantastic. So this would be it in our chat application with WebSocket series. Let me know if you like the videos. Let me know what did you like about them. And if you have any suggestions of how we could extend this application. Maybe you were, for example, interested, maybe you will be interested in writing tests. Maybe this is something that we will do as a next video some time in the future for this series. But once again, if you liked it, please leave a like button or hit the like button, leave a subscription if you want to see more of my videos. And I would like to thank you now for watching, and I'll definitely see you in some of the next series.